Hi, welcome to Making Wine at Home. I'm Cody Shive, and I've been making wine at home using wine kits for well over 7 years. So I decided to put together a YouTube series to help you learn how to make wine at home using wine kits. Today's video is part 1 of a multi-part series where we make a wine kit. What we'll focus on in this video today is cleaning and sanitizing your work area, cleaning and sanitizing the equipment that you're going to use, and actually starting the wine kit. So in this multi-part series, we'll be making this wine kit. Now, this is a Cellarcraft Showcase Premium Wine Kit. It's a Chardonnay from Lodi, California. It's 18 liters, got a big bag of juice in it. It has oak cubes for the secondary fermentation process, and it is going to be a lot of fun to make. So, the very next step is get the instructions out and let's walk through them together. To get started, put the production sticker onto your instructions and record the date you started. Remember, this is an 8-week kit, so these are the specific gravity figures you're going to need to use later. Step 1, we're going to clean and sanitize the equipment to be used. Step 2, we're going to put hot tap water into the bottom of the primary fermenter, and we're going to stir in the bentonite. Step 3, we're going to pour the contents of the juice bag into the primary fermenter. We're going to rinse the bag and add that as well. Step 4, we're going to top the fermenter to 6 gallons using spring water. We're not going to do step 5, we don't have oak chips or granular oak. Step 6, we're going to stir it well, use a hydrometer to measure the specific gravity and record it in this chart here. 7, we're going to sprinkle the yeast on to get the fermentation started. 8, we're going to put the lid on and fit the airlock. 9, we're going to leave the kit sit for 14 days. And what's in the box will usually be a package, and we'll go through this package at another time. And in the package we have all of the ingredients that we're going to need to make this kit. You'll notice that the kit has inside a big bag of juice, and that bag of juice doesn't come out of the kit box. You leave it in the box. What you do is you pop out these cardboard pieces so that you can bring the spigot up through in order to empty the bag into the primary fermenter. Now we're going to talk about primary fermenters next. Now this is a plastic fermenter that's put out by a company, I think it's pronounced Spiedel, and I'm going to show you the components of it. This particular unit has a nice large opening for you to really get your hand into to clean and to put the grape sacks in, or I like to put the grape skins in directly with the wine. These don't come with thermometers. I always buy a relief-based thermometer that you can put on. This has an adhesive back, and so what's nice is instead of having to drop a thermometer in to see how your must is doing in terms of temperature, instead of doing that, you can just look at the side. Now we're going to assemble this together. The plug actually goes into the bottom. The unit does come with a spigot as well, which you could use. The only reason I don't use the spigot to empty is that you're going to get sediment down at the bottom, and typically you like to pump the wine off of the sediment. And if you use the spigot, what will happen is you'll actually get some sediment come through the spigot. So I tend not to use those. So we're going to focus on the top right now. There is a service port that goes on to the top. You put the seal on. It's just designed to keep the air from getting in. it'll make it airtight. And that will screw on like that. And then what goes on to that is a gum stopper, into which you put this bowl, and you put a little bit of water in here. There's a little fill line here. Put that on the top, and then you put this in. This will burp out the carbon dioxide, but it doesn't let any air back in. So this will be airtight. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean and sanitize this, and once we've finished cleaning and sanitizing it, then we're going to put the must in from the kit itself. Now these two products are used to do two completely different things. The container on the left is called Star San. Now Star San is a sanitizer. Now the difference between the two is you use the one on the right to clean. You use the one on the left to sanitize equipment. Now what we're going to do is look at a little bit of a cleaning ritual here. Now I'm going to show you a few things that you can do. First, in your basin, when you get started, I tend to use Simple Green, and I really dilute it. Now this does have a smell, so you want to clean your basin out, and I always do the corners first, because if you get the corners, then you're going to get everything in between. And then I take a basic sponge and I run cold water, and I just clean out the basin. And what I tend to do is, as I said before, I'll take some PBW or one of my cleaners, and I'll put it into a spray bottle, which gives me sufficient cleaning solution to clean out the primary fermenter. Now if you notice, the primary fermenter, I took the plug off the bottom, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to liberally spray this down inside. So I'll just take a half-size paper towel, and now that I've gotten the cleaner in, I just go ahead and wipe it down. Then I clean this all throughout. Remember, again, this is cold water. Using cold water is the best thing to do, because cold water doesn't promote any kind of bacterial growth. So you rinse it down. I always like to make sure I rinse the lip of this as well, because you know you are going to touch it with your hands and with other equipment. So once I'm done with that, you'll notice that, remember, I had taken the stopper out in the bottom because it makes it easy to clean it out. Now, I have a clean spoon. I now have a sanitized primary fermenter. And the next step is to put the bentonite in. So I'm going to run a little bit of hot water here. A standard sized beaker. I'm going to pour this in. This will mix up into a mud, basically, in the bottom of this fermenter when you put it in. So I running some hot water in. Now I'm going to pour a little bit of this in so you can see what I'm doing. Notice I'm working the water in the bottom, because as I pour this in, I don't want it to clump up. Kind of looks like gray, muddy water. Well, that's exactly what it is. It's gray, muddy water. Now what we're going to do next is we are going to put the must into that gray, muddy water, and then we're going to mix it up. On the premium kits, remember, I've got here's my bag of must. And if you look at the premium kit, you can see there are these cutouts. Now, you'll use the box as leverage. So if you see how that's set there, now I have a device to take this top off. Now, I have a rather nifty device that lets me pull the top off of this. I think this is like $3-4 at the wine store. So I'm going to use it. You can just position it on the top like this, and then take it right off. Okay, now once that's off, set it aside. You're going to turn your kit around. Now notice I haven't done anything other than position that spigot. Now I'm going to pick this up. Now you could have a friend help you with it, but I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to immediately start pouring it in. And there you go. It's poured in. And from this point, what we're going to do is we're going to now rinse out the bag and add to it. Now, if you'll notice, you can see that it's got some color to it. What we're going to do is we're going to do just a little bit of a stir here because we're not quite ready. I want to get that bentonite, dissolved bentonite worked in there. This is really, really, really close to being ready. Now my guess is we're going to need a little over a gallon. So I'm going to start with a gallon of spring water that I'm going to add in. And this is just store-bought spring water, nothing special about it. And I'm just going to watch that come up. And we're getting close there. Just doing some checking. I had added enough hot water. This is right here is about the 23 liter. You can go a little above it. So we're going to go just above it so we know we're above it. Now I'm going to do some, this is the spin I was talking about. I'm going to do some really good stirring just to make sure everything is mixed together. That bentonite, the fresh spring water I poured in, everything's ready to go. Now when you've done this, I usually do this for about a minute. Now we're going to take the specific gravity of the wine kit before we put the yeast in. Now it's really important that you do this as a first step because it forms a baseline for your calculations down the road when you try to determine what the alcohol by volume is. So we're going to use a hydrometer. And what I've done is I've taken some of the must out of the primary fermenter and I've put it in my graduated cylinder. And the objective here is to drop this in and to see where the float point is. So it's 1.100. So we are right at the end. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on this. So if you can see that, we're right at the high end of the range for the kit. When you go back to the instructions, you'll notice that we're actually at that very high end range. But we are within range with this kit to get started. So we're in good shape. We're going to go to the next step where we're going to put our yeast in and get the kit fermenting. I'm going to go ahead and let that go. Now what we're going to do, this is the last step in terms of the ingredients, but it's an important step. If you leave this step out, nothing's going to happen. We're going to add in our yeast. Now this yeast is a yeast called 71B. Now this particular yeast does a really good job with Chardonnays. What you do is you just simply sprinkle the yeast in. Don't clump it all in. Just let that, because remember I was stirring it, and so it's still got a little bit of a turn going in the liquid, in the must. I just go ahead and gently stir this, or not stir it, gently pour this on top. And then when it's done, clean out the, just tap the packet to get the last of it out. Right. remember earlier we were cleaning some pieces, and one of them was the top that has that seal on it, there's an O-ring on it. So we're going to put that on, and then we're going to put the screw top on just to secure it. A gum stopper that we're going to put on. And then the bottom part of the airlock. Now the bottom part of the airlock, I'm going to fill with some water, but I'm going to put that in. Okay, so if you'll notice that airlock has a little line in it. Now I'm going to put some water in it. And typically what I do is I put a little bit of water that has a little bit of metabisulfite in it, just to make sure that I'm not putting any kind of water that could possibly contaminate. I'm just going to add, notice I'm adding it on the outside, not on the inside. This actually goes straight into the fermenter, just on the outside, because what we're going to do is we're putting water in here so that the airlock will float on top. Here we're adding water to the outer ring, not the center. See how it's floating? Now what will happen is overnight, as the yeast begin to ferment, this is going to start to pop up and let the carbon dioxide out. Now it's been 2 days since we started this Chardonnay, and if you look at it, you can see the airlock pushing out carbon dioxide. Now I'm going to zoom in on it so you can see it a little better. There you go. See the action? There's a lot of carbon dioxide being released from the yeast that are fermenting the wine as we speak. Notice that the ambient temperature is 71.1 degrees. However, our wine kit is now fermenting at about 75 degrees. So the must is being heated by the active cultures, the yeast, as they begin to multiply, put out carbon dioxide and alcohol, as well as heat. So to recap, what we did today was we cleaned and sanitized our work area. We cleaned and sanitized the equipment we were going to use. We got the wine kit started, and we followed up with watching the wine kit actually producing carbon dioxide. Now in the next video, we are going to take it to the next step, where we will rack that wine from the primary fermentation stage to the secondary fermentation stage. So I hope you look forward to that video. If I've left anything out in these videos or you have questions, please leave a message down below and I'll answer it. And remember, please subscribe to our channel so that when we put up new content, you're notified. Thank you for watching this presentation, and I hope to see you again in a future video. Well, that's about it. Thank you for watching Making Wine at Home. And don't forget, have a glass of wine. Cheers.